So now, in this video, we're going to look at the Zener diode. This is a 5.6 volt Zener diode. They come in all kinds of values. And if you look at it closely, I had to do so in order to find the right one, because I got kind of a small pile of them going. Then, if you look closely, it says 5V6 on there. What that means is the V, which stands for voltage, is actually where the decimal point goes. Because if you wrote this on that little component, you probably missed the decimal point. So they take the V and put it where the decimal point will go, V for voltage. But in any case, we got 5.6 volt Zener diode. Important thing is that it's reverse bias, and the symbol has, somewhat of a Z looking thing for Zener, where the cathode is, the cathode bar right there. They add a couple of little bars to make it somewhat like a Z, but it's reverse bias, so that's the direction where it does not conduct as easily. They are specially made to conduct reverse bias. Don't try to force current through just any diode, reverse bias. Only do so with ones made to do so. And usually, if they're not meant to conduct reverse bias, they'll have a lot higher what's called breakdown voltage. But in any case, this has a Zener voltage, starts conducting current at about 5.6 volts, and in doing so, it maintains about 5.6 volts across it. Of course, you need a higher supply voltage in order to do so. So, got a 1000 ohm resistor, doesn't have to be a 1000 ohm resistor, but we need to limit current when we get above 5.6 volts, because the Zener diode won't do that. It'll keep passing current in order to lower the voltage. So if you try to put 12 volts, then, my power supply has current limited, but like a battery, 12 volt battery, you'll get too much current and it will overheat. So we need something that's going to take up the extra voltage. We'll get about 5.6 volts across the Zener diode. So we can look at that right now before we get going. So it doesn't matter what the supply voltage is really. The Zener voltage, the voltage across the Zener diode, will vary a bit. But we're going to start with 7 volts right there. Very simple multimeter. All I got to do is set it to V for voltage. It does the rest. It's set to DC. We could change it to AC. Red probe doesn't move for this meter unless we're going to measure high current. Black probe never, you never move the black probe. So we don't have to do anything with the probes. Now, what I'm going to do is, so I'm not holding probes, is just clip this alligator clip to the probe, and I clamped it just with pliers. It was really easy to do. The end of the alligator clips to these jumpers, and they seem to make a really good connection. So I recommend everybody do that. These are just regular breadboard jumpers right there that commonly come with kits. So the main thing we're interested in is this Zener voltage. So there you go. We got about 5.6 volts across the Zener diode. Now you don't really want a load. The meter just mostly looks at the voltage right there. Just a very tiny amount of current trickles through. Probably not enough to change the reading, maybe at all. Right there, there's like 10 million ohms of resistance. But yeah, there you can see we got 7 volts at the supply. Even if I go up to about 12 volts, I could go higher right there. We maintain the voltage, and the closer you are to about 5 volts, the more stable this is going to be. Quite a bit lower value Zener diodes, and a fair amount higher value Zener diodes, you'll get more drift right there. It does change a bit with current, but the 5.1 and 5.6 volt Zener diodes are usually not too bad. So yeah, there you can see we're drifting up because it's warming up a little bit to about 5.6, and it's going to level off pretty soon. I could even go up to 15 right there. So if I do 15.6, then we got 5.6 volts across the Zener diode, and the rest of the voltage is across the 1000 ohm resistor. So about 10 volts right there. This isn't exactly as a multimeter when it comes to the current, but that's basically 10 milliamps of current, which is what is going through this circuit. So as I said before, we have, I'll shuffle the meter over there. We're just looking at the voltage with the meter right there. You could send this to an amplifier or something. It's generally not used to keep a voltage across the load, although if it doesn't need much current, you might be able to. It might even be used to prevent an overflow of current when you plan how much current's going to flow through that resistor. I mean, over voltage. It could help take care of an over voltage. If you got a load sensitive to voltage, you're keeping less than 5.6 volts across it. If the supply voltage got too high, then it would start passing current to maintain that maximum. But in any case, we're just looking at the voltage in this case with the meter. That's it. And very little trickling through, practically nothing. So whatever is going through the resistor is also going through the Zener diode right there. So that's how we knew there's about 10 volts across the 1K resistor. Of course, we could measure it. So again, the supply voltage is 15.6. As we can see there, we got a pretty spot on 5.6 volts across the Zener diode. If I put this jumper to the positive supply, so that's the rail voltage right there. We're losing a little bit along the way with resistance and the wires and stuff. Always something you got to be aware of. But in any case, there we go. So, you know, it looks like it's just shy of 10 volts right there. And I've noticed with this power supply, if it's just shy, in this case, of 10, it'll say 9, even if it's like 9.9, in this case, milliamps right there. So when I said 9.9, I meant milliamps. So I meant like 0.0099 right there. It'll say 9 instead of rounding up to 10. So just be aware that with the power supply, you know, not as accurate as a multimeter. So in any case, yeah, we got that remaining voltage. If I lower this down to 7 volts, which we began with before, then we're going to have about 1.4 volts across the resistor right there. So 7, because we're dropping about 5.6 volts out of this 7 volts right there. So there you can see about 1.4 volts. Main thing is in relationship to ground. That's how most things are going to be looking at this voltage. It's a reference voltage for whatever reason that you need a reference voltage. Right there, 5.6. Now another reason why you're going to see a lot of 0.6 volts. So 5.1 is a Zener voltage and 5.6 is a Zener voltage. So if you need about 5 volts for a reference voltage, you know, use the 5.1 volt and you'll be fine. But if you've studied transistors, the NPN bipolar junction transistor, you would give this signal to the base. And the base to emitter is going to drop about 0.6 volts. Something that you get used to very quickly when you're working with NPN bipolar junction transistors. So the Zener diodes already have those factored in. If you want like a 5 volt emitter follower for an NPN bipolar junction transistor, then you can take this setup right here with the Zener voltage. That's probably why I did this setup, because you'll commonly see like if you want a 5 volt output. And so yeah, this makes sure that the emitter follower outputs 5 volts, because the base has 5.6 volts. It drops base to emitter about 0.6 volts, leaving about 5 volts. So no matter how much higher the supply voltage is, it will maintain 5 volts across that load, even if that load demands quite a bit of power, because the transistor is providing power. This is just providing the reference voltage. Just this reference voltage is 0.6 volts higher, then that's going to output. So they already build that in to a lot of Zener diodes to have 5.6 volts over whatever regular voltage is, in this case 5 volts. So in any case, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you check out one of the other videos I'm posting on the screen, and check out links down below. They all help out a lot. I'll see you in the next video.